Hello, I'm Wayne Thomas, and I have a personal comment that I have to address this. Okay, in some of my videos, especially when I'm going directly into the Bible, and you'll see this when, especially in the first books of the Bible, Genesis. In Genesis, for example. As I'm reading it and going over it with you, you'll notice that I stop and get freaked out because of some of the new Bible translations that are going on. And I have such hard times with some of those Bible translations. And I thought that I would address that to you here before I go any further, more into the Bible. Okay. Now, please forgive me. I'm having a very difficult time with some of these new Bible translations. I find it to be horrible. And as I read more and more, I'm finding more and more. And I'm just having a very difficult time with that. It would be the equivalent of, let's say, for example, 9/11 in our times today. 9/11. What happened in New York City with the buildings, the World Trade Center's buildings coming down, and what happened with that. It would be like this was a full description of what happened. Like there was a book somewhere. There were books when they wrote that and told everything that happened from the surprise, from everything that happened the day before. And what life was like in New York, and what life was like, and everything in the TV and the movies, and everything that was going on in that night, and everything with, wonderful things, and just life, the way we knew it. And then that morning, things started. And, you know what I mean? And everybody had the same account. And there are different versions, but it all basically the same kind of account. First airplane hit. What was going on inside that building? You know what I mean? And how the news broke the story, and how this was like wait. This was something way beyond our comprehension. I went through this earlier, so many years back when John Kennedy got shot. Same thing. Okay? This was like something way beyond our comprehension, and let alone real quickly back to John Kennedy, he was a young president. Everybody loved him. Everybody loved him. He was young, no matter what color, no matter what race, no matter whatever. Everybody loved him. Everybody, and the young women loved him. But everybody loved him. So for him to get shot out there, and we had never seen a president get shot. 9/11. So everything was going on and everything was wonderful. And then that morning came. And they talk about how that first plane hit and what was going on. And then the news broke the story. And this was like, whoa. Everybody's turning on their TVs now. Everybody, Now, my friend in Detroit, or in Michigan, I was living in California. So everything that was going on there at 8 o'clock in the morning, it was just only 5 o'clock in the morning for us. So we knew nothing about this. I got the phone call in the morning. Did you see what's going on television? We turned on the television and boom, the whole world changed. And everything about that whole day and everything about it. And then while we're watching it, a second plane hit. And all of that. Now we're not even talking about what this is like for the people there in New York City, let alone the people who were working in those office buildings. Those people running down them steps, trying to get out of there. The firemen's families, all these things are all involved with all of this. Can you imagine reading a book now? And you went through all that? You reading a book now, well, there was a book that says, well, there was a couple of planes that hit the building, and it was real tragic. And everybody was running. A lot of people got killed, and that's the way it went. Taking away all the essence of everything that was involved with that stuff. You know what I mean? Especially those of us who are old enough to were I mean, we were hurting, let alone, we were hurting, but let alone those people who lost a loved one in there, in those buildings, or an animal, or a companion, or a friend, or something. The people who would be affected by this regarding the matter and the fibrosis and the fibers that were going on in the air, and people who maybe died from cancer from this stuff, and there's so much more to it, and the richness of it, all that happened. And all of that needs to be put in the story. And the first Bibles I read, they were more like that. Now, of course, they may have omitted some things and whatever that I didn't know about even prior to that. But they had such richness in them. When I read the Bible now and read these little quick, fast it's a little quick, fast, hey, just the people in 9/11, hey, a couple of airplanes hit the building. It was tragedy, and a lot of people got hurt, a lot of people got killed. But and let alone if they have an agenda. They have an agenda. The agenda being that how we, the Americans, our armies, and the whole priority of the story now becomes it's light and written lightly because the real priority of it is showing how we are king. But I'm just having a hard time with these translations. There are things missing that are so key. So key. Anyway, I wanted to bring that to your attention because this is really bothersome. You know what I mean? Okay, I'm reading. You know what I mean? I wish I had some of my first Bibles. They had these things, and they were just real pure. Not just straight out. Nobody tampered with them. And every time you found a Bible, it was at the same words, same things. Now these Bibles are like, wait a minute, what happened to these? And it's hard because there's certain things I want to tell you now that because I know the Bible, and I know when they're missing something. You know what I mean? These key things. And a lot of them so far, the key things missing are the things that God himself did. Something that he personally did. And they took that out and make it just like how the man reacted to it. Anyway, that's it. Let me continue on. All right, now. And it's really hard because, again, there might be something that's so key. I'll just have to remind you, I have to tell you what really actually happened there, even though the Bible here says this. But what really happened on that case. Okay? All right. So that you will know what's happening in that Holy Bible, and you'll know what really happened. That's what this is all about. Bible. Okay. Now, these Bible translations, I think that in looking at these translations is that of course, we know first of all that they're trying to make the Bible read a little easier for people. When you're trying to read the Bible, it's a little easier if they take out these things here or take out those things there and say it a little easier, more succinct version of it right there, and it's a little easier, whatever. Okay, I got that. And I know people. I know people who, they like the Bible translations because it's just a little easier and better for them to read. You don't mess with God's word. Now, I'm looking at new Bible translations. I'm going to read something to you for who's making these translations. And I knew it all along. I figured I'd find out who was involved with this. I'm reading here, it says, the new translations in contemporary English began appearing significantly in the 20th century, with notable examples like the New English Bible published in 1961 through 1970, the New International Version published in 1978, the New Translation published in 1996, the New Living Translation published in 1996, the English Standard Version published in 2001. Now remember, I learned the Bible from 1975. Okay, the New Revised Standard Version Catholic edition published in 1989. You know, you see where I'm going? You see where I'm going here? These people messing around with our fathers. What you don't mess around when our fathers were in this world and try to make, and now you're going to convert to the world and make it easy for them and do things to appease the world. So the people who are watching my Bible videos know that I'm going to be telling you things about the Bibles I learned from way back before they started messing around with all these Bibles. And before all this racial foolishness started happening and all that. Trying to favor this one group of people. You know what I mean? It's like if this group of people had doing their translations, they're going to favor their group. And they're going to make the other group over there that they don't like, or they're going to make them look, you know. When I was reading the Bible and first learning the Bible, that didn't exist. The Bible did its own thing. And the stories in the Bible, that's all it was. And it did its own thing. Our men, human beings on the outside or in these modern times didn't mess with it. It was so sacred to us, as it was. But now everybody got their little computers and their little AI and so forth, and now they're just fixing it around every which way you want. I could go on to say some other things, but I don't want to get involved with another group of people who can really get up in here and say some things, and now they're changing. Now the Bible's doing whatever it want to do. Now everybody can be involved. So please be careful of the Bible, these new translations. You know, I have a hard time with them, you know, because when it gets to the point where you're favoring a group of people because of your own prejudices or your own whatevers, you're playing with the God, my Father, and his son Yeshua Jesus' word. You don't mess with it. Okay? All right. Thank you.